This spring, my partner and me did a 3-week wildlife safari in Thailand. Our first destination was Khao Sok National Park, where we stayed for the first half of our trip. We were in a lovely place called Green Mountain View Resort, which was located right next to one of the jungle-covered limestone cliffs, slightly outside the busy area along the main road that leads to the entrance of the national park. We already had an amazing first day discovering some of the wildlife just along the road to the river. On the second day, we walked into the other direction, crossed the road and walked down a road that was running past some plantations towards the thick jungle outside the national park borders. But first, we had breakfast in our resort with an amazing view towards the steep limestone cliffs covered in the early mist, listening to the sounds of the jungle. Some of the big carpenter ants were still crawling around after last night's nuptial flight, but far less active than last night, and definitely less active than the weaver ants we found a few meters down the road, building their nest right above our heads. Next to the small bungalows of some of the locals were a few birds calling, our first oriental magpie robins, and we even briefly saw a pair of green-billed Malkohas. Wherever you looked, there were insects flying around or sitting in the vegetation. We saw more of the day-flying handmaiden moths, lots of the bright red crimson marsh gliders, and a huge variety of different butterfly species. These great egg flies were fluttering around our heads, engaged in their courtship dance. Other butterflies were sitting still enough to get some good photos and videos. Many of them were coming to the few puddles along the path to absorb minerals. We had to walk a short distance along the main road to cross over, and spotted lots of small, brightly orange-red insects amongst the low vegetation, nymphs of the Indian cotton stainer bug. The road leading down on the other side got us close to more spectacular limestone cliff formations, and we started seeing even more wildlife. A rather big clouded monitor was surprisingly quiet, sneaking away from us. We found even more butterfly species, some beautifully patterned plant bugs, and one caterpillar, which must be the quickest caterpillar ever. We couldn't believe our luck when a pair of orange-bellied flowerpeckers was flying into a small tree right next to us, where they were preening and looking for food just a few meters from us. Walking through a plantation, we found a small stream where even more mosquitoes tried to bite us, but it was worth it, as we discovered a range of invertebrates like this very hairy caterpillar and different dragon and damselflies. We also got a clear view of the cliff and spotted some makeshift ladders that went down to the hives of giant honeybees. Whilst a tiny jumping spider was hopping up my arm, a very much larger fishing spider was hunting for prey along the stream, which was lined with these very interesting and very reactive plants, the sensitive plant, which folds its leaves when touched. This brightly colored flower is curcuma, which we so far only knew as a spice for cooking. On the way back we heard a loud gibbon-like call close to us, a greater coucal. And then a flock of chestnut-headed bee-eaters landed on the power lines and the surrounding trees, trying to catch some insects in flight. In the evening, the millipedes started coming out again, crawling up and down the trees in the resort. So did the geckos. And the tree frogs. The next day we had a night safari booked, so we only did a short walk during the day. We had seen that there was some ponds further down another pass from the main road. Beside the usual oriental garden lizards, we also spotted another gliding lizard, this time with its orange dewlap showing, and a big bullfrog in a small pond. We saw a few new butterfly species, as well as caterpillars. Some big colourful wasps, huge buzzing carpenter bees, and a bright blue digger bee. Once we reached the pond, different dragon and damselflies in a variety of sizes, colours and patterns zoomed through the air or rested on the leaves. An oriental darter flew off and landed in a tree, waiting for us to leave again. On our way back, walking through a plantation, a pair of red-wattled lapwings was noisily defending its territory, and we got some great views before we went back to our resort, before heading into the nature reserve for our night safari, which we will report about in the next episode. Please like and subscribe to the channel to see the other wildlife adventures on our trip through Thailand. Thank you for watching.